JB Media is back with more content to share, with free drops that include thumbnails and logos of character classes, schools of magic, guild icons, background textures, the most adorable potion mimic you've ever laid eyes on, and so much more. As a patron, you get even more free content with access to exclusive drops. But fear not, if you're not a Patreon subscriber, there are still bundles available for purchase to glam up your virtual tabletop. Tons of creepy crawly monsters, spooky shadow creatures, dragons, oozes, tiles to customize your dungeon. What more could you ask for? One of the benefits of supporting an independent artist is that you can always submit a request to have custom assets or monsters drawn for you. Check out JB Media today on Patreon or on Instagram at jbmedia.dnd. Don't forget to like and follow them for more fantasy drops.
This is a Wicked Cool Kids production.
Meow, 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 meow.
Hello?
Meow, 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 meow.
To Wicked Cool Kids. This is a podcast where we talk about D&D with our friends. Thanks, buddy.
Oh, that was so cute.
If that was on video, it would 100% be the intro.
I got it on video.
That's true, but only half of the podcast goes on video. The rest of it's on Spotify.
They can use imagination.
Well, in that case, it's decided. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
My favourite thing about that is Kristen's face every time, because this is like the fourth time we've done that now.
We just
whether
get
deliberate
going.
whether deliberate or accidental, and Kristen still is caught off guard by it. It's great.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. How are you?
Oh, gravy,
good.
mate. Always.
Wicked.
Stupendous.
Okay, cool. Yeah. My name's Joe. I have with me, as always, Kristen, Jason, and Lee. This is where we just chat nonsense for about an hour, and have fun with D&D and other tabletop games and computer games and whatever's been going on with our lives recently.
Because we're fucking nerds.
Because we are. Do you know what? Yeah, let's kick us off with that. Actually, I got very salty the other day because my boy came home from. I know, never. My boy came home from school the other day, and he wasn't upset. He was more, I guess, confused is the right word. Long story short, one of the other kids in his class had called him a nerd.
Aww.
And I was like...
It's like a badge of honor, though.
Right, and I was like, okay, and did it upset you? And he said, I don't really know. And I said, well, do you know what it means? And he said, no. And then we had a chat about what a nerd was. And he came away kind of going, but I am a nerd, so I don't get why he was saying that like it's a bad thing.
Yeah, where's the insult in being a nerd?
Yeah. I like to get people to describe to me what that means to them when they call me it. Well, at least when I was younger. Obviously, don't get that very much now these days. But you going
What do you mean you don't?
Someone will be like, "You're nerd." I'll be like, "Okay."
I refuse to believe you're less
Yeah.
of a nerd now. Maybe you're just hanging out with the same nerdy crowd, so nobody's hurling it like it's an insult.
Maybe.
I mean, that's it. I don't know. Like, there's so many things. I've had some issues with my kids. One kid in particular recently being called things. And one of the things we were at a parent-teacher conference. And I think I might have actually told you guys because he had just kind of gotten the same negative insult hurled at him. And he has black round glasses. And one of my other kids' friends came up to him and said, oh, look, it's autistic Harry Potter. And this is obviously going somewhere else with a different thing. But it made me so proud because he was upset by it because he knew it was intended to be an insult. But he said, I don't understand what's wrong with being autistic either. Like, it's so many people have such big, successful lives because of their brain working in that way. I don't understand why people would weaponize that word. People do stupid shit all the time. Like, what is wrong with being nerdy? Everybody's nerdy about something. I said it at your wedding, Jason. Everybody's nerdy about something.
That's true. That's true. Whether it's makeup or sports, there's still a nerd culture amongst knowing enough information to be considered like excessive to the norm. But I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they talked about the quantity of people on the spectrum in the world, which would equate kind of equally to the population of Russia. So disregarding autism
Wow.
as a thing that is abnormal will be the same
Yeah.
as disregarding Russian people as an entire country, which doesn't make sense. So that might bring him some comfort. So you can let him know that.
Yeah. I mean, and that's only diagnosed people.
Yeah.
I was honestly, my biggest concern was that he's like, I was pleased with his conclusion, with my boy's conclusion, but at the same time, I know that he's only little. He's only little. So I know
little.
he's gone back into school with that mindset of, but that's cool and that's fine. And I don't know. I sort of can guess because I know what kind of kid he is, but I don't know for sure what he's going to do. Like if he's going to go back into school and sort of not in an aggressive way, but confront this other kid and just be like, do you know what? I am a nerd and I don't care. Because actually at the age group he's in, that is likely to have an increase in negative interactions, not a decrease, just because he's at the age where kids are they're learning to manipulate and learning to be snidey with one another. So just for clarity as well, like as you say, everyone's a nerd. The literal definition of a nerd is a person who is extremely enthusiastic and knowledgeable about a particular subject, especially one of specialist or niche interest. So it doesn't
Like looking things
exclusively-
up to tell us the exact definition of it. Does that make you nerdy?
like that. Yeah, probably.
I just so happen to have this pulled up right now.
Joe's a definition nerd.
But like, by that definition, there's like people who love football.
Yeah.
By that definition, are absolutely nerds. They're just
Either version.
football nerds.
Football nerds, yeah.
And people who like smoking weed, I guarantee
Drug
people
nerds.
that smoke it to a large
Or
extent
grow it. Yeah,
know
yeah.
a lot about it.
Yep.
They are definitely drug nerds, and that's
Yep.
fine. Like that's sort of a good thing. You should, as humans, we should have something that we're interested in.
I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't even necessarily have to be drug nerd. It could just be a horticulture nerd, right? Like the differences, because from what I understand, you like cross pollinate and breed, and like it's a whole big science thing behind it. Even you're talking about hemp and CBD, and you don't even have to think about the THC part of it. I've been getting a ton of on my Facebook feeds things about like lion's mane mushroom for focus. I don't know why that would be targeted at me, but a lot of times it will come along with CBD information too. And I get caught into watching these people talk about, oh, in our facilities, we do this and we study the strain of this and we take the strain from this and we put it into the strain with this and these combinations. It's totally, like you said, totally geeky. I would like to look up the etymology of the word nerd and see where it came from. I'm going to have to, because we definitely, the amount of word linguistics videos I've sent you, I'm definitely going to have to. Are you doing it right now? Just wait. I'll just do it.
I think
just
the
give me time.
nerd
I might have
word
already done it, but yeah.
in that kind of that age group though is used to like as weaponized because it means
Sure.
uncool rather than
Yeah.
the actual definition as we would
But
understand
it's
it.
so painful because sometimes it is cool, right? If you're nerdy about something sports,
It
you're
can
a
be
cool kid.
Yeah.
But if
But
you're
you wouldn't-
nerdy
yeah,
about
that's what I
book
mean,
stuff,
yeah. They don't use
you're
it as an
not cool.
insult for people who know
Yeah.
a lot about football because it's considered cool to know about football. It's when that
Yeah.
diverses into other things. It's like our sword's cool. So
Yeah.
like sort
Yeah,
of
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Own short swords, maybe not so cool. So
Isn't it ironic that the the closer you move into the cool kid bracket, the less likely you are to know what a nerd, like to know the meaning of the word nerd. And the further
Are you
away you
calling
get,
them
the more
dumb,
likely
Jack?
you are to, which means you're then more likely to also say, yeah, but do you know what a nerd is? This is what a nerd is, and therefore you're a nerd, which is not a good comeback for someone who doesn't know and doesn't care what a nerd is.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I have to say it
We
because I
take
looked
our
it
own
up
notes.
because I thought that you were going to look it up and I needed to look it up anyway. So
I did look it up. I already did. I have
this,
other
the
things.
first thing says that I have a soft spot for this person. Says that the first documented appearance of the word nerd is as the name of a creature in Dr. Seuss's book, If I Ran the Zoo in 1950. That's
Nice.
interesting. I'm going to have to deep dive down that. We're going to put that on a shelf for later.
Yeah, I was going to say earlier, you very much put me in mind of the little girl in the movie who turns up at a library to exchange a book, and the library assistant is already standing there with books ready for you. I thought you'd like to read this one. I saw you reading up on etymology the other day. Here's a book on it.
Stop attacking me.
It's not an attack. It's great. It's wonderful. Nerd.
All right. So do you want to take you were talking about short swords. That brought up something that I made myself notes to talk about. Because you just had us do a one-shot where we play tested new rules. And
rules?
New player rules, specifically.
New rules?
2024 Player's Handbook.
Of this recording, it's only the 2024 player rulebook. We're waiting
Insert
for
Dua Lipa song. Da, 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 da. But yeah, weapon mastery is a whole thing. And I wanted to talk about it. And we've kind of talked about it. And every time I bring it up, because I get really excited about it, I go, shh, don't say anything because we're going to talk about it on the podcast. And the podcast is here so we can talk about it. So weapons, weapon mastery. Certain classes are given masteries to your weapon. So it's different than you having a proficiency in weapons. It's you can do certain things with each one of these weapons. It's the mastery properties. So they give you extra things. They are in order. Oh gosh.
Cleave, graze.
No, cleave, graze, nick, push, sap, slow, topple, and vex. Right? And I chose the graze property for my pole arm master. And so that means I've got 2 attacks at the level that we were at, and then I have a bonus action that I can use the opposite end of my pole arm and get an attack. And so the definition of graze is if your attack roll with this weapon misses a creature, you can deal damage to that creature equal to the ability modifier you used to make the attack roll. This damage is the same type dealt by the weapon, and the damage can be increased only by increasing the ability modifier. So my person had a +5. Which means that if I rolled natural ones, boom, 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 on all 3 attacks, I still got 5 points and 5 points and 5 points. So I still did 15 points of damage, regardless of whether I hit or miss the creature.
Yeah,
and
we did check if that was only on one of the attacks, but it clarified that on other maneuvers, didn't it? But did not clarify it was only on one attack for that specific weapon. So just to get that clarification out there as well.
Yeah, because we deep dived and then we started talking about, well, what does that mean for concentration spells? If I'm hitting somebody who's concentrating on spirit guardians, right? Do they have to make 3 separate concentration checks on 3 technically missed attacks? And okay, so at some point you're going to roll and you've got Warcaster and it's going to be easy for you to pass. But statistically, the more often you have to make those checks, the more likely you are to fail them, right? And so I feel like it has the potential to be very overpowered in a couple of different ways. And I know the one that was talked about very heavily was Nick. And Nick is when you make the extra attack of the light property, you can make it as part of the attack action instead of as a bonus action. You can make this extra attack only once per turn. So there's where you get clarifications on how many times, per time you can use it. And I feel like graze isn't being talked enough, or maybe not in the things that I'm listening to, because I feel like that gives Nick a run for its money in terms of power. Yeah, it enables you to use your bonus action elsewhere, which is great for a rogue. But I don't know. What do you guys think about it?
I feel like it's... See, graze isn't overpowered if, say, a druid walks in with a sword that you have a graze applied on, because they essentially would only be able to hit ones anyway. So I liked the fact that how many encounters have we walked in? You're the fighter, right? Your entire being is about being
Hitting
very good
things.
at fighting. You walk in because that's your job, and now you're in the fray and very vulnerable. And swing, miss, and the next turn you just get attacked, and the dice rolls against you, and you feel not only useless but completely pointless. Like my whole reason is to fight, and I completely failed at that. It's
Mhm.
rubbish.
It's
I like
why I fell out of love with fighters, because there's only so much you can do. Swing. With these added options, it definitely brings a lot more variety to it. What you can come up with, you can get really creative to it. I know we mentioned about one of the maneuvers where you can pull each other about and stuff, and then we got
Mm.
talking about, well, you could use that as a maneuver to get allies out of trouble and drag
Yep.
them out of the way, which is absolutely freaking great for the martial classes.
Yep. So, I did. That's definitely on here to talk about as well. So it sounds like you all are of the opinion, which, yes, I absolutely agree. You have your martial classes versus your magic classes, right? So you think that it's buffing those up to make it, hey, I'm just as effective as the wizard who's casting fireball because I'm doing stuff and it's not just bang bang bang. I can do cool stuff and I can be effective even when I have Kristen dice rolls. Kind of deal.
It's giving versatility to them, isn't it? Because they always
yeah.
felt like one trick ponies. You can
Hmm.
only, like, you can attack. There's not really much wiggle room apart from the one of the fighter subclasses, which gave you battle maneuvers. And
It,
yeah,
that versatility is exactly how I feel because I also I think I barbarian. I think I was barbarian,
Hmm.
You
Yeah,
were,
we
yeah.
both
and
were.
I took javelins and
It was a
uh,
great sword or
a
longer sword,
great
was it?
sword. It was a great
Yeah.
sword, so I could either like run in and do fairly heavy damage with
Hmm.
my greatsword because I got bonus for being raging and bonus for even if I missed, I managed to still do some damage. Or I could, as I'm running towards them, use my javelin, slow them down so they can't escape. You know, like
Hmm.
every time I went in, I had that mindset of I've got more than one thing that I can do,
That
and I
you can
yep.
don't
do.
have.
Yeah.
Whereas, as Lee says,
I've been thinking on because at first I was like, it's so overpowered. But I feel like as you level it up as well, it becomes less of an issue with stronger creatures.
Mhm.
Also, it allows DMs to go, here's a really cool magic weapon. It has the property push, even though it's a cleaver or a sword. It's magically
Yep.
Yeah,
imbued that when you swing it and hit a creature, it pushes them 10 feet away because it has a magical burst. It allows, I was
Hmm.
thinking on it, it allows for more role play and description purposes and a little bit more homebrew advantages
Yeah.
to it. But I feel like Grey's the one that stands out at lower levels for sure of
Yeah.
being
But
overpowered.
how
But
many? How many characters, like player characters, do you know start off with a +5 to their
yeah,
like
No, no,
starting
no.
stat?
Right.
usually +3,
No.
like, at most.
Yep.
Yeah. And so the if it was like to break in concentration, they're only going to need it any time that you do it is a DC 10, isn't it? They have to roll 10 or higher. If you're um, a caster, and there's rarely any caster who has a dump stat con. I don't think there's any character that really has a dumping con as their stat. So 9 times out of 10 they
Mm,
will. What character do you know who's got a dump stat as con?
I've got a loads of
Um,
wizards that have them
I mean,
stuck
No, no,
Hurrah
I
did
mean,
not have
like
very good
recommended.
and
con.
well, I mean, we play differently though.
Oh
You
yeah,
absolutely, if I want my character optimized, I'm sending my sheet to you to say, hey, can you look this over? But just like last time we talked about Ginny D and Warlock, and she's like, I'm not going to take Eldritch Blast because that's not how I'm flavoring my Warlock. There are
yeah.
people like Jason who are going to go, you know what? I want to be a frail little bitch. Like I'm playing and I'm deciding that I'm going to go adventuring as my dying wish. And I'm going to make my con my dump stat because it brings good flavor.
I'm an
I've
old
seen
man.
it several times.
Yeah.
And then when I think about when I created Cora, who I talk about a lot, my Firbolg cleric, who was protector, but I didn't really understand how things worked. So I did not maximize her constitution. So she had way less hit points than she really should have had to A, be this big creature that she was, and
Yeah.
B, be entering the fray like she liked to. Um, so yeah, I mean It does happen.
You're
I just
always horrified by my hit points. I'm
Yeah.
looking at even scratch. I basically put so much into charisma and dexterity that I had nothing in anything else.
Yeah,
He was very
but
fast and very charismatic, but his con was bad.
but you're going against. It won't be player characters that you go against. It's usually monsters that are pre-designed
Yeah,
by. So their constitution is not going to be in the gutter. Otherwise, encounters would be over in a matter of
On
minutes.
on that
So
point as well, though. If you're concentrating on a spell
yeah,
and you get hit, you have to make a con save every time you're hit, not
every
at the
time you
end of
take
it.
damage.
But if you were if something like Greys became an issue, an easy house rule would be that it's you take a con save at the end of your turn. You're talking about 6 seconds. Yeah, sure, you might break. Like realistically, if the reason you're losing concentration is because you're being swiped at multiple times, it doesn't really make a difference whether you're being swiped at once
It's
or 10
the
times.
it's the
It's the
pain from each
fact
hit,
that
isn't it?
right,
that
but
you
like
have to.
over the course of a couple of seconds, if you get hit twice, then you're either going to lose concentration because you were hit or not. If the first one didn't hurt, the second one's not going to bother, or it didn't break your concentration.
Well, it
The second
depends
one might
how
not
if
either.
it was a more damaging hit, because then on that you could end up going to 0 on a second hit, like get hit by
Right,
1 damage
right.
versus
But
12.
just in terms of like mechanics in the game, if something like Graze, as Kristen says, she can essentially run in and potentially cause 3 automatic con saves no matter what. To the point that you run in and before you even start rolling, the DM may as well start rolling those 3 con saves.
Yeah, do you want me to mind blow
Ah,
you now?
go on.
There is already a spell in there that does this, and has been in since for the old rules. Magic Missile. Every time that hits, it requires you to do a concentration check.
Yeah, we've
So
talked about that one before.
yeah, so
but
it's
spell slots are finite, and that's not a cantrip. So you
yeah,
can
it's only
only
a
do
level 1
that
spell
so
slot,
often.
and you can
Right.
upcast it, and most
Sure.
casters will get their resources.
But
back
even
on a
if
short rest or
you can shield against a magic missile.
only
can.
if you're yeah
But
yeah.
if you
You've
shield
also
against the attack and you still get a hit, even if they put your AC above the thing.
you've also got the factor that the person who's concentrating on something is likely a spellcaster, and by being all up in their face, you're also preventing them from doing any ranged spells. Whereas if you're doing magic missile, they're probably also firing stuff back at you.
I think the other thing that Jason brought up that we didn't talk about is that it completely negates crit failure.
But no, because if you do run the crit rolls, a 1 is always a miss, isn't it? But that's
Yeah, but
still
But
But
even
if
if
you
you
still
miss,
if you
you
miss.
still do
miss.
the damage.
Yeah, that might get cleared up though in
Yeah,
the next set
with
of
sage
rules.
advice or
Potentially.
something.
Maybe
but,
that's why
but
they're
yeah.
waiting to print the books until all 3 of them are out, possibly,
Yeah.
so they can
Yeah.
make those actual hardcore changes before they make the print.
Because that is mental that on a natural 1,
Right.
you'll
You're still
do
doing.
some.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
that
think
is-
because I remember saying that I'd allow it, like you get hit, but your weapon will break, or you drop it, like because you need a
There's gotta
fumble
be some-
at some point,
yeah.
some negative effect. Because if you roll a natural 20, you're getting all the reward. But now, if you roll a natural 1, you get no risk. It's you
Right.
still get rewarded for the most critical failure you can
Right.
get.
Or, I mean, in your games, it's different because on a natural 1, you get an opportunity
Opportunity
attack
attack.
against you. So there's that regardless.
Mhm.
I would propose that instead you just homebrew that a critical failure is a critical failure no matter what, and you don't get
You
any of the
negate all
mastery. Like it
damage, yeah.
negates all of that. Because to make your weapon break is penalizing all of the rest of your fight, and I don't know that that's
Yeah,
fair.
but you could
either.
drop it. You could say you whack them at a point where it dislodges it from your hand. So you have
Sure,
to then
dropping
use
it
bonus
is one
action
thing.
or something to pick it up.
Right, but then that's like more than just a regular miss, and I don't have the graze property. Now that leaves that open to other people stealing my weapon and go like, you know what I mean? I
Yeah,
feel like
but-
it gets that's a little bit of a harsh penalty, but maybe graze is not the big deal that I think that it is. I just feel like there are a couple of holes that can be poked in it, right? With the natural 1 being a big one, I think. But I really liked the idea of the mastery properties, like you said, because it gives you so much more versatility in terms of what you can do.
I did also feel, I don't know how you felt, Jason, as the person actually running it, but I kind of felt like it might make once you understand it and have done it a few times, these rules might actually make combats a little more predictable, because there's more versatility, but essentially all of them are pretty much all of them. Like even if you look at cleave, it's hit the person and then you've got the chance of hitting the person behind them. Graze means you're never going to miss. Nick means you can make extra attacks. So these fights are in theory going to last a little bit less time. Everybody's likely to hit at least once, because pretty much all of these are giving opportunities to
do
hit
more
a little
damage each
easier.
then, yeah. Or slow them down,
Which,
providing, or like disadvantage
yeah,
on sap and stuff like that. Or give
which
another
if you
creature
know is coming, you
advantage.
can prepare with
You can, but
different
I'm hoping
monsters.
that the new monster manual, when it comes out, is completely reworked the CR ratings of monsters, because they've been shit for a long time. So hopefully they add make the creatures the actual CR rating that they are, so they'll have to like buff a lot of the creatures in the current monster manual, or they're gonna reduce the CR rating of a lot of the monsters that are in there already. So then you can actually balance it with the new rules once it's out as well. I don't know. It allows for creativity as well. Like I could now put a wizard in there that, if you're within 15 feet of the wizard, is untargetable. If I don't want him to be grazed at any point, when you get within 15 feet of this wizard, he turns transparent, and any melee attacks go straight through him. So now you're forced to use your javelin instead, and use the slow maneuver and things like that. You're adding combat scenarios that make you switch it out, so you're not using the same maneuver or mastery property like every time, like forcing the players to explore the other masteries that they have at their disposal.
Give them a flight speed or something like that. I think it's definitely going to make you have to think about combats more interesting. So it shouldn't be run of the mill. Everybody's just there
Yeah,
fighting.
yeah.
It'll be,
Also
well, what can we
the
do about this?
DM can throw a fighter in there that's a bodyguard with the graze, two spearmen
Yep.
with glaives
Yep.
pointing it out at you, so you can't
A
even get close to
bugbear
your caster.
polearm master to keep you 15 feet away.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's the beauty about it. Like all this can be used by the
By either
monsters
one.
and the enemies, so
Right.
either side gets it.
yeah.
So that's
Right.
pretty cool.
So that's what I was gonna say to you with like, oh, how many monsters or things do you fight as an NPC, right? Against an NPC that have dump stat con. But those characters can also use it against the players who might have dump con. So anyway,
That's a player's problem.
it's we're gonna but you don't want to have, I mean, maybe you do, but I don't want to have a party full of optimized players, because that ruins a lot of it for me
It's
personally.
no. You gotta have, like, how I see it is, you you don't want to have a full party of unplayable characters that can't do anything. You want them to be able to at least hold their own in a fight versus like the same amount of goblins. That's when you can press forward with the game. Otherwise, you throw something that's like some of the stuff I've thrown against you guys. If your characters were all like in the gutter with their stats and everything, and not really up to scratch, that you'd be rolling new characters every other session. But so and you'd just be fighting the same boring things. You want something that is going to be a challenge, but not to steamroll, and having characters that are like your player characters that are able to keep up with that thing. It makes it a lot
Mhm.
easier as a DM to see what I can throw at you. Otherwise, I don't think there's any sheet to show you if the players have made all characters like this and they're not very I got
Then do that.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
then they're not going to do well. There's nothing to help there. So
What I
yeah,
will say is that I'm really grateful for the opportunity. I don't want to say the forced opportunity, because it was a community decision, but the opportunity to test that, because the 2024 rule set, I was like, I don't want to learn. Like, I just finally feel comfortable with these, and I don't want to completely revamp what I know. And I am a lot less nervous about the new rule set now after playing that, and a little more excited about it. So I'm going to take us actually to the next thing that we were talking about, which was your unarmed strikes. So they
Love
put
it.
in a couple of different things, right? When
Love it.
you use your unarmed strike, you can choose one of the following options for its effect. So you can either damage, grapple, or shove, right? Damage is damage is damage. Grappling, we know what grappling is, shove. But what's cool about shove, I was again kind of finding loophole things in role play situations that I might be able to use these things for. And it says the target must succeed on a dexterity or strength saving throw. It chooses which, or you either push it 5 feet away or cause it to have the prone condition. The DC for the saving throw equals 8 plus your strength modifier and proficiency bonus. This shove is only possible if the target is no more than one size larger than you. So I was thinking, why would I want to shove someone 5 feet away from me? And then I came with this very niche situation where what happens if an ally is running past me and they're trying to get to a foe and I see that they only have 30 feet of movement and they are 35 feet away? Can I use an opportunity attack against my ally to push them 5 feet further? And so we went roundabout whether you had to cause damage in order to do that. But the answer is no, because when you make the unarmed strike, you choose between either damage, grapple, or shove. And if that person, just like if I want to use telekinetic shove with a feat on a friend, you can willingly fail a save, then my foe could willingly fail this save and then get 5 extra feet of movement. I've wasted my reaction, which means that I'm now open to a bunch of things, or if other people are coming by me, I can't use my opportunity attack against them. But I really thought that that was a cool, kind of useful way for your allies to benefit from an unarmed strike, or.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
thinking on it, and I thought, what if you're trying to make a jump? Joe, that scene in not Helm's Deep, it might be Helm's Deep, where Aragorn throws Gimli across the gap onto the
Yeah.
bridge. That because maybe his jump wasn't that far, but if he
Uh-huh.
leaves Aragorn's sort of immediate space and prevent has the opportunity attack to do it or use the reaction, you can throw him to make that 5 feet of
Yep.
distance up and that they
Yeah.
needed to reach a certain point or jump onto the back of a dragon, for example, rather
Yeah.
than just using your stand and jump. If they leave, you can give them that extra 5 feet of push as well. I think creatively it can be used in fantastic ways.
Yeah, I love the idea that it presents me with more options for teamwork, because I don't know about you guys, working with the group that we have, right? We're all friends and we seem to synergize very well together, but sometimes it feels like you go into a battle and person A has their plan and person B has their plan and person C has their plan, and none of them are really kind of talking and coordinating, and so it's just this. And it happened not long ago when I said, damn it, Chet, like you pushed them out of the range of the thing that I just brought them in to do
Yeah.
because we hadn't talked about it beforehand. But thinking on that really kind of opened my mind to like, oh, what other ways can I kind of work teamwork into a fight? Because the longer you are adventuring with people and fighting with people, the more you kind of get to know and be able to predict what they're going to do. But you would also revisit a fight at the campfire later on that night when you're all recovering and magically healing overnight. But you would talk about that and say, "Oh, you know what? It would have been really great if as you were running past, I grabbed your arm and just whipped you forward a little bit more, and you would have been able to reach them and they wouldn't have been able to run away from us." You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
just I thought that it was really exciting to kind of bring about more opportunities for team.
From the M's perspective, the amount of times I've misjudged the distance when I've started an encounter, I'd have to use the dash action to get into melee action with you guys when it's just been 5 foot has been
Mhm.
tediously annoying. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so having one guy run past his ally who throws him forward, that extra 5 foot can really
Yeah.
work in my benefit for moving enemies around the map as well.
Yeah.
Again, I found a lot of DMs limit themselves to what the monster things say and don't use these player opportunities that are just core rules in the book for those monsters as well. So I'm trying to be better at that side of it as a DM, and I think all DMs should be aware of that. You can use these actions outside of the what is written down for that specific creature they're using.
Yeah.
With with the topic of fight synergy and Kristen talking about, you were saying about how sometimes we do things and we're not always on the same page, so end up foiling each other's plans. That happens a decent amount. It happened in the most recent weekend game for sure, to me at least a couple of times. But part of that I feel like is because there's a certain amount of we don't want to metagame. We don't want to. Okay, we know everything that's going on the map. We've seen more. What our character can see right now is this, and you try not to. I think all of us are pretty good at trying not to metagame and don't do things that wouldn't make sense for if we were in the exact space our character is in. However, one of the things that I have a preference, and it's not a criticism of anyone, but some DMs will play it out so that if you want to communicate with your fellow adventurers during a fight, some DMs will say, yeah, cool, have a quick interaction, and some will say, you can ask on your turn, but you've got to wait until their turn for the answer, which basically means there's not a lot of value asking questions. I mean, yeah, it happens a lot. And my mindset has always been, with the initiative order is just so that you get to choose what you do first for tactical reasons. But in my headspace, each round is sort of happening simultaneously. Like, I'm running in while Lee casts a spell, while Kristen tolls the dead, or what, like, all of that's happening at the same time. And if we wanted to communicate in my headspace, we should be able to. Unless it's a really big or complicated question is going to
because you still have to then go. Each round is 6 seconds, so how much of that conversation can you get out in 6 seconds?
Right, but so often the question that is being asked is just like, should I hit them, or should I run in or protect you? And that was
or
it can be very
come
short
with
sentence.
me. Come this way, like so that you saying that brings me all the way back to, I think I was talking to Lee about it, and it might have actually come up on a podcast episode when we were talking about like team rounds, team initiative. I forget what the term for it was, but basically it was the groups go and the monsters go, and that would enable you to have team tactics because you're all kind of working and planning together. We're going to do this, and this is our turn, and they're going to do this, and this is their turn, and it's still happening simultaneously, but I think that might foster a little more of that communication and teamwork. And I know that there was, the idea that maybe we would try that in a one-shot one time.
I can definitely set something up to try that, whether it's just like a simple combat arena thing. You're against another team, see how multiple combatants work in that way, and then against a singular larger monster, see how that works. It's determining the initiative. Do the players always go first? And then if it's like a group of people, it gives the DM the chance to throw a bunch of minions in there. Or do you go...
My nerdiness would tell you that you take...
an average initiative.
Take the median.
I just go rollies, isn't it? Just a D20 either side.
That makes me so nervous because, it's just like a group stealth check, right?
Then your initiative bonus doesn't count for shit at that point, though, does it? And
I feel like grouping, like, if we 4 walked into a room and there were, I don't know, 10 goblins and an ogre and a hellhound, then I kind of feel like it makes sense to group some of the initiatives, but not all of them, because the ogre's not going to.
A group familiar creatures. So the goblins would all act. If there's 5 goblins, act at the same time. The 2 orcs will act at the same time, and then maybe if there's only the 1 hellhound, that'll have its own initiative.
I think that's why I prefer the concept of just allowing basic communication, because a lot can be read from just seeing someone else's face or a point out into the other direction or something that takes almost no time. And just allowing that flexibility means that the initiative order matters less in terms of, like, especially as a player like me who's rife with indecision a lot of the time, and worries about doing the wrong thing for my fellow players. Like, I'm far less experienced and always worry about doing something that's going to be detrimental just because of inexperience. But if that was true of my character as well, they also would be looking to their adventurers to kind of give indications of what to do. And in a real world scenario, there would be someone who's kind of, whether the official leader or just
You have
an
someone who's a
incidental one.
strategist, wouldn't you? Regardless of whether they're the leader or not. There'd be somebody who knows strategy more
Yeah.
than
Yep.
other people. Yeah.
Or the
And would
impulsive
probably
one
be
who's just
as
going to
you're
go in.
moving.
Yeah.
Yep.
And even if it's not their turn, even if you did do the like 6 seconds is your turn and then the next 6 seconds is the next, even in that scenario, the person who knows tactics is not going to be standing doing parry thrust while they wait for their turn. They're going to be yelling, "Hey, go over here, do that, come to me!" Like that tactical communication. I feel like it's a mistake to squash it.
Yeah.
Personally.
Maybe before a combat kicks off, they could be like, "Well, you've got a minute now just to quickly talk about
Plan,
before anything officially kicks off before we get into it. I can go for a quick piss while you guys talk about that. You crack on
Because I'm the
because
warlock and I'm just going to cast Eldritch Blast at the back.
Because then things change at the moment. You
come at
haven't
me, lad. I'll
necessarily-
just blast you.
Yeah, you can then prepare for what's immediately in front of you as you sort of. But if things change very quickly, that you might not be able to communicate with one another, you still
like an
don't
ambush and stuff like that.
Mm.
Yeah, that's quite a cool idea.
Yeah, but I mean, we play video games together, strategic ones like League of Legends, where we have those conversations while we're playing in game. Like, you're the tank, you go in, I'll follow you up with this attack. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So we have that communication. But a lot of groups don't play those kind of games with each other. They just play D&D with each other, and then they go to their own external lives and don't communicate that. So I feel like it'd be different for each group and how they kind of structure themselves. Because we play in some groups where some players don't say a word until combat happens, and all they do is their turn, and then they don't say a word again until it's their turn in combat again. So, and then you're relying on those other characters to recognize you're actually speaking to them. Because there's been points this last month,
Me?
maybe, where people have been sent private messages and just never replied to them.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
yeah, it
But
happens.
yeah, I definitely think you should be open to be able to talk to each other, as long as you don't take the piss like you're having a half an hour
Right.
battle
Full-on
strategy discussion.
decision,
Yeah,
the ogre's
because
standing
you
there
guys,
like, are we doing this or not?
yeah, you guys have you've been on multiple adventures together. You fought in battles before. You can pick up on each other's sort of cues. Oh, look, Kristen's got a sword like this. That means she's going to do this on her turn. So that's how you'd explain that. Why you guys would be, like, able to see what's going on and work it from there.
The
It
battle
makes sense.
synergy has to be built up over time. Though like, if you're starting at level 1 and you've just met, you're not going to have that battle synergy as you would after 7 levels together as well.
Yeah. I think I might put your suggestion into practice, Lee, because I've got my in-person Dragons of Ice by Peak campaign going on at the moment, and because they are all new players, very often fights become huge, long discussions about trying to work out what the right thing to do is, and I'm kind of trying to gently encourage them to just do something. It's fine. You'll be fine. Like, a lot of the things that they fought, if they just got in and done it, they would have been fine. But they treat everything like it's definitely going to kill them, and if they don't make exactly the right decision, they're all dead. But giving them that opportunity to talk beforehand, and then saying, "Hey, by the way, once this kicks off, after that minute of discussion, you just need to get on and do it, and we're going to try and be strict on time."
Well, I think so. First of all, you wrote "doip" the other day, and I was like, "What the hell is doip?" And I just got it, doip.
Yeah.
But
Tom asked the same
brings
question
about...
as well.
Did he? I didn't even see that. It brings about, I think, kind of a balance, because as a game master, you know the fight that's coming. And sometimes even if you're running a preset module, it's going to say, if this happens, these are the actions that these ones are going to take. So all of that has been pre-planned, team worked out beforehand. And it does give the players the opportunity to kind of have a little bit of planning, just the same way as the DM or whoever has written the module, whatever, has experienced as well. So I like it, because that team initiative, good. The more we talk about it, I go, well, what happens if 3 people are over here, but 4 people went over there to go forage? Well, now you can't do group initiative because you're not even in the same place. It doesn't even, Like it.
Love it.
Shall we move on?
Wait,
Sure.
to what?
I
I
mean,
got-
Like we got
I
structure to this. I
monsters.
don't.
I can keep talking if we want.
I got
I'm out of
monsters
words.
that you guys can guess. If you want to go over the last episode's
Oh,
one,
but
but
I asked you something before this. I said,
I said it was a
would you
good
rather?
question. It'd be
What?
great if you
Yeah,
got the answer to that.
I know, but you never gave me the answer. I was
Yeah,
wondering
that
now.
was
Look, it's
specific.
an even field now. Everybody's here; they can
No
hear
idea
it.
what's happening.
So my question to Jason was for this
Oh God, is it one
monster.
of the Lee questions?
No, it's
Like
not
if
elite.
I was
It's
born
like
with
if
four
I
arms
was a
and one
caterpillar
eye.
and this creature came up to me.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right, I'm listening.
How
listening.
friendly would it be? So I wanted to know if this creature was a singular thing, like there is only one of them, or can there
Oh,
be
that's
multiple
a
of them?
yep,
Because
that's a good
this is where I
question.
was struggling. I don't
It,
know whether
it,
it's just
it
a
is
one or a.
typically a singular thing.
Okay,
There's
let's do bargain.
usually
Singular
only
thing.
one of
Let's do
these.
bargain spells first, and then we'll come back to it.
Okay.
No, let's go. Let's go for
Are
it because
you?
if I
Are
might
you
actually know it this time.
waffling?
I'll go last.
Let-
You'll go
No,
last.
you can go first because
Okay.
thanks to my son, I think I might know it. So
I
let's
feel like
do
Joe
it.
needs
And
to
Lee
go
has to go
first
first.
then. Okay, all right.
No, because I'm confident, and if I'm wrong, it's not going to make any difference. So Lee, I don't want to give him time. to go and look at
I'm
his book.
struggling on this one.
Okay, I will go first. You, Jason, or we can
I
all
can type
private.
it to you if you
we
like,
can
if you don't
we can
trust
all
me.
private message. But listen, Jason, do you want to just read it out, or do we really want me to do bargain spells first?
I can read it out. It's fine. We can do this
Read it
first.
very slowly and enunciate it so Lee has time to think.
Yeah, give me a chance.
Cults,
I'll go first. It's fine.
Cults devoted to this creature use mazes and complex knots as their emblems. They create secret places to indulge themselves, including labyrinths and of sorts their masters' favors. Blood-stained crowns and weapons of iron and brass decorate their profane altars. Over time, a cultist of this creature becomes tainted by its influence, gaining bloodshot eyes and coarse, thickening hair. Small horns eventually sprout out of the cultist's head. In time, a devoted cultist might transform entirely into a minotaur, which is considered the greatest gift of this huge fiend. Is last episode's description. Go on, Joe. Do you know what it is?
Okay, so the Minotaur thing gave it away because you guys nearly fought this in the one shot that Blind Boy made for you. Because one of the creatures that you were going to fight, it ended up being a scorpion. It was going to be a Minotaur, and then he went down rabbit holes looking at the pictures. And if I'm right, then he was going to put you guys up against a Baphomet.
Okay.
I believe you will find that in certain places it is pronounced Baphomet.
I thought it was Baphomet or something. I don't know how to spell it.
I thought it was Bibimbap, but
Yeah,
I
so
struggled with that one.
I
Until you
I-
answered that question, I wouldn't have got it.
as soon as you started talking, I went, "Oh, Minotaur for sure." And then you
Yeah.
said, "Oh, then it can turn into a Minotaur," and I went, "Shit, obviously it's not." But I had recently looked up because in Tomb of Annihilation, a Minotaur came out of the mirror of
Pierce nipples.
life stealing, and I just shot it because the description was this angry looking Minotaur comes out looking like it's going to attack you. So I shot it, and apparently it was flavored as me like giving him nipple piercings. And so then I was like, "Oh baby, I'm so sorry," and I healed him, and it was like sweet until he went to go protect me and his other friend and died because of it. But anyway, I had looked up Minotaur, not etymology, like background, because I am who I am, and I did see that there were cults and whatnot of Baphomet,
Baphomet.
Baphomet.
Silent H.
We didn't actually even get if this is correct or not. He's like, "No, sorry, it's a
I
goldfish."
could tell off his look at his little face.
So
Little
what
face.
were you gonna answer, Lee? What was your answer going to be?
So if it was going to be Minotaur, I was on the same sort of wavelength as you, and I was thinking maybe an undead Minotaur or something like that. Until Jason said it's like a singular. Then I thought Minotaur gods or something like that, which
Like a Minotaur priest. Yep.
yeah. So
I had gone that
I'm
way
only
too,
taking
and then
half a point because I don't feel like that was fair. I got an
I'll
additional
take half a
question.
point.
I'm sort of pleased that you're offering that because I am slightly salty that for the first time
I know.
possibly ever, I was like, I know it, and it's what I shouldn't really know. And still,
Give you 0.5 then, Leah, and your score.
Now just round it up though. We don't do halves.
the one shot the boy ran, I think you were all
1
like
point-
level
6.
3, right?
Yeah.
It would have been an
we would.
interesting
It's a
start.
CR24 in its avatar form, so like
Yeah.
one hit would have straight like killed us all. I think he's got an
Yeah, but-
AOE attack as well.
But what I would very much so appreciate that you do is you talk to your boy today when he comes home from school and you say, "Hey, because of your nerdiness and the same kind of nerdiness gene that runs in Kristen, we both got the answer right today because we happened to deep dive into something that we didn't really need to deep dive into and just had that extraneous knowledge
Absolutely, and
popping around in our head."
most importantly,
You beat me.
we beat Lee.
Yeah.
This is all that matters.
That wasn't my barometer, but okay.
Yeah.
I'm just happy to be here.
I'm ready. I'm ready for the next.
You're
I'm ready for the
ready for the next. Okay. Oh, big stretch. Cool. These creatures are violent manifestations of nightmares and subconscious terrors. The true appearance of this creature is obscure as they twist its hazy form into surreal illusions of its foe's greatest fears. However, all these creatures share one thing: a gaping, always smiling mouth, which it reveals before engulfing its prey in a phantasmagorical nightmare.
That's where the word.
That's the word I was trying to pronounce earlier, which I'll post it in the podcast chat now for you guys. So you guys have got that
My brain
to
has
read.
just done several backflips thinking of different things as you continue to go on. So I'm excited to stew on this one.
It's a goblin.
Right. Challenge rating is a 7. If that gives you any hints. Yeah.
That means nothing to me,
'Cause
but I
I'm,
appreciate the clarification. I know that it means it's not a dire wolf or a goblin. So, other than that, great. Okay. Do you all have bargain bin spells, or do I need
I
to
got a
talk
bargain
slowly
bin
while
spell.
you-
I got a good one.
I got a
Yeah,
bargain
go,
bin
go, go.
spell.
I got a good one.
Okay, I'm excited about
You
mine
did
too.
good, man.
Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. Get it over and done with, because
Okay.
why not? Like it.
Do it.
So mine is Cage Hand. What? What? You're going dirty with this, and it's not that. It's
I'm
not.
not going
It's not
dirty.
for that.
I just
It's not
Wow.
for stopping people for pleasuring themselves. No, that's not how this is work. This is where you. I saw the smirk. It's fine.
That's not what
So-
a visual came out. Like the claw machine. Anyway,
No,
keep going.
but, yeah, so okay. It's a level 1 spell. You need a small thin piece of metal. It lasts a minute, and when you cast it, a cage forms over a hand. So this is used by a lot of shopkeepers for people stopping stealing. Not what you were going to say, and to stop, like people having sexy time in the house and alone. Like, I'm going away.
Wow.
Here, boom, you got this on. Go to sleep. And I also know you looked
in the
at-
laundry. I
Yeah.
guess.
you looked at the board, didn't you? Of what? Did you see what I put in?
No, I didn't, because
No?
I was too busy typing mine in. Yeah.
I just typed in sucky sucky.
I hate you so
I did
much.
see that. I'm dropping bits of my one in now, and above my spell animate bread is sucky sucky. This is a interesting spell. Oh, I can see you changed it now. Cop out.
Yeah.
All right. But my spell is animate bread. It's similar to animate dead. It's a rework on that. I've adjusted the level because I don't think it makes sense for it to be a level 3 spell. But if you find a carb heavy food item, you can animate it to move around. It grows like little bread legs and a little face, and
Is it a bread frog?
it could be a bread frog. So you can have these little, like the Harry Potter where the chocolate frog is alive. It's similar concept to that. So animate it, and it is alive until eaten, or the spell wears off within 60 minutes. So you got an hour of playful time with your kids at the table, trying to get them to eat the bread aeroplane as it flies around.
Does it last until it's fully consumed? Like if it's a bread airplane kid,
Oh
they do
yeah,
a
I mean
flyby,
it
and my
can be
kid eats an arm, and it's still zooming around.
if it's like a
wing.
little loaf of bread or a little slice of bread, and it's like square, it's got like a little face in that, it just screams horribly while you eat it.
That's where the spaghetti monster
Maybe it's similar magic, yeah.
comes.
Yeah. Anime carbs.
Okay. I almost had a dead one for this week, but it's gonna be for next week. Joe, what do you got?
I have got Blinding Smile. You know what turkey teeth are, right? Everyone's going over to Turkey to get their teeth whitened and polished and look like not to an extreme level. So yeah, this spell puts a lovely fresh pair of gnashes in your mouth. The targets that you're hitting take an extra 3d4 damage, radiant damage still because the light is shining off your beautiful vibrant teeth, and they are blinded but only while looking at you. So if they look away from you and attack, they're okay. But anytime any character within 5 feet is looking at you, they are blinded. Friend or foe.
You said turkey teeth, and I had no idea what you were talking about. I was like turkey teeth, because I've never heard the term before, but okay, got it. That's great. I for this week went with play on Crown of Madness, and I just took away a letter and I made it Crow of Madness. So still level 2 spell, 1 action, 120-foot range, and you can choose 1 creature within that. You have to have a feather or an origami little bird, and it's concentration up to 1 minute. It's 1 humanoid of your choice that you can see within range must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or become annoyed by a crow for the duration. While the target is annoyed in this way, a crow appears by it, cawing in their ear or fluttering around their head, distracting it. The distracted target has disadvantage on all attack rolls and ability checks for the duration. At the end of each of their turns, they may repeat the wisdom saving throw to end the effect. On a success, the spell ends. And I love I love crows, and I want crows to be my friend. But I love the idea of being able to be like, "Hey, Pierre, I need you to come and go distract them for a minute." And it's not like a familiar; it's just your little crow buddy from your spell, crowing in your ear. Great. There were good ones this week.
So the crows can mimic human or like human voices as well. So it could like rarely get in there with some. You could maybe use that to cast like Tasha's Hideous Laughter or what's the other one? Wait, Vicious Mockery as well from the crow, which would be interesting.
Yeah.
Look, if my spells week on week have not been good enough for you, I can stop coming up with them.
I was hurt by that as well.
I don't understand what
they were good.
happened.
They were good this week.
Good this week, yeah.
They were
like they've not been.
Wow.
My spells.
To be
have been
fair,
perfect
Lee, yours was terrible last week. It was awful. I hated it.
Okay, well, I just was saying that I feel like it was especially good and
Yeah,
funny
no,
this
we
week.
got it. We heard you. It's fine.
Because I remembered that they were supposed to kind of be funny, and the last time I did it, it was burning sand.
Oh, so did you hear that? Did you hear that, Lee? They weren't even funny last week.
I weren't funny.
Why do you do this to me?
Not only were they not good, but they didn't bring any joy or lightheartedness to the party. Okay.
You're wretched.
It's fine. I got it.
No, you don't. You did not pick up what I put down, and I'm upset about it. So I'm gonna
I picked the wrong thing up, I think.
Pouty over here. You did. Joe shit on the ground, and you picked that up instead of what I was.
Thanks, Kristen. Thanks
for
the present.
You know what?
I feel like that might be quite a good time to call it a day.
I need to go wash my hands and clean the shit off it I picked up.
I cast Cage Hands.
Cage Hands.
Have the shit on your hands for the rest of the day.
Nice. Just what I wanted.
It's a cool shopkeeping spell though.
Welcome.
I do appreciate that. I might add that to a couple of shopkeepers because like what defense do they have against the party whenever they come in with all their magic stuff?
When you got people coming in robbing shit all the time.
Love it. Love it. Well, it's the gift that keeps on giving. At least this week's spell is going to be useful to someone. comments, let us know in the section below. Give us a thumbs up and a like. Subscribe if you want to hear more.
Drop your date of birth and your last name and things in the comments.
Social security, national insurance if you're in England.
or ideas for bargain bin spells, or how
Yeah, 'cause ours aren't good
really
enough,
agree with the fact that Joe took that into a place that he didn't need to, and totally brought down the end of the episode. Thanks so much. I hope everybody has a lovely day filled with fun and laughter and not sassiness from people that they thought were friends.
Wherever you found us today, don't forget to like and subscribe for more great content, and if you want to find out more about what we do, how to support us, pick up some merch and find links to our friends like JB Media, visit us at wickedcoolkids.co.uk.
Did you clap, 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 clap? No, you didn't, so we don't know that you're ready.
What, me?
Come on, Joseph. I want
I-
your clap. That sounds so bad.
Thanks
Take it all back.
Heard it here first.
Thanks for
Wicked Cool Kids.
Thanks
Kristen,
for the
what's
end
Joe's
credit
clap?
snippets. Yeah. Thanks for the credits.